কুতুব মিনাৰ ফটোটো এতিয়া মই কিয় দিলোঁ ইয়াতে মই এই কাৰণে দিলোঁ মই ভাবিলোঁ যে কি এই কুতুব মিনাৰটোৰ মই হাইটটো উলিয়াও ঠিক আছে বা ইয়াতে এজন মানুহ আছে সাপোজ এইখিনি জায়গাত এজন মানুহ এজন আছে ঠিক আছে এই মানুহজনে ভাবিছে যে মই কুতুব মিনাৰৰ হাইটটো উলিয়াম সো কুতুব মিনাৰটো বহুত ওখ সো এতিয়া হাইটটো যদি উলিয়াব লাগে বা হাইটটো যদি মেজাৰ কৰিব লাগে তেতিয়া হলে কি কৰিব লাগিব ইয়াতে ডাইৰেক্ট ওপৰৰ পৰা তললৈকে কি কৰিব লাগিব from top to bottom ইয়াতে মেজাৰ কৰিব লাগিব ঠিক আছে বা আমি এটা মেথড এৰি কি কৰিব পাৰো ইয়াত থকা মানুহজনে ডাইৰেক্টলি কুতুব মিনাৰৰ হাইটটো মেজাৰ কৰিব পাৰে কেনেকৈ আমি ইয়াতে এটা কি কৰিম এটা ৰাইট এংগল ট্ৰায়াঙ্গল আমি মেজাৰ কৰিম ঠিক আছে এটো যদি আমি কুতুব মিনাৰটো এনেকৈ যদি ভাবো এটো এটা কি হয় এটা লাইন হয় ঠিক আছে কুতুব মিনাৰটোৰ পৰা মানুহজনলৈকে এটো ডিসটেন্স আমি ভাবিলো কিবা এটা এটা ডিসটেন্স আছে এই ইয়াৰ পৰা ইয়ালৈকে ডিসটেন্সটো আমি ইয়াতে ড্ৰ কৰিলো নেক্সট এই পইণ্টটোৰ পৰা মানুহজনৰ এই পইণ্টটোৰ পৰা কুতুব মিনাৰ এই পইণ্ট একদম টপৰ পৰা ইয়াৰ বটমলৈকে আমি এডাল লাইন ড্ৰ কৰিলো ঠিক আছে এতিয়া যদি আমি চাও এটো এটা কি ট্ৰায়াঙ্গল হল দিস ইজ আ ৰাইট এংগল ট্ৰায়াঙ্গল ওকে এই ৰাইট এংগল ট্ৰায়াঙ্গলটো আমি ইউজ কৰি আমি কি কৰিব পাৰো এই কুতুব মিনাৰটোৰ আমি হাইটটো ডাইৰেক্টলি উলিয়াই দিব পাৰো ঠিক আছে আৰু জিটু মেথড বা জিটু আমি চেপ্টাৰৰ পৰা এই হাইটটো আমি উলিয়াব পাৰো সেই চেপ্টাৰটোৱে হৈছে ত্ৰিকোণমিতি ওকে সো আমি আজি এটা নতুন চেপ্টাৰ স্টাৰ্ট কৰিম হেইটো হৈছে ত্ৰিকোণমিতি চেপ্টাৰ 8 অৰ সাপোজ আমি আৰু এটা বস্তু উলিয়াব পাৰো ইয়াতে যেনেকৈ আমি ভাবিলো যে কুতুব মিনাৰটোৰ পৰা মানুহজনৰ ডিসটেন্সটো কিমান আমি হেইটো ডাইৰেক্টলি ইয়াতে উলাই দিব পাৰো এই যেটো লেংথ এই ট্ৰায়াঙ্গলটোৰ এইডাল যে সাইড আছে এই সাইডটোৰ আমি লেংথটো উলিয়াই দিলে আমি কি পাই যাম আমি ইয়াতে ডাইৰেক্টলি ইয়াৰ পৰা কুতুব মিনাৰটোৰ পৰা মানুহজনলৈকে যেটো ডিসটেন্স আছে সেই ডিসটেন্সটো আমি ডাইৰেক্টলি পাই যাম সো আমি এটা চেপ্টাৰটোত আগবাঢ়ো ঠিক আছে Okay, introduction to trigonometry, ঠিক আছে আমি আজি আমাৰ ফার্স্ট টপিকটো হৈছে introduction and trigonometric ratios হেখিনিৰ ওপৰত আমি আজি অলপমান ডিসকাস কৰিম ঠিক আছে সো ফার্স্ট অফ অল আমি জানো যে trigonometry কোনে ফাউন্ডার কোন হয় trigonometry ঠিক আছে এই যে মানুহজন দেখিছা এই মানুহজনে হৈছে কি trigonometry ফাউন্ডার ঠিক আছে এই মানুহজন এই মানুহজনে ফার্স্ট trigonometry কি উলাইছিল যেটো trigonometry মেইন ফাউন্ডেশন এই ফাউন্ডেশনটো এই মানুহজনে কৰিছিল ঠিক আছে সো এটা trigonometry মানে কি আমি এটো বুঝো সো মই এটা লাইন লিখিছো the word trigonometry is derived from the Greek words trigon and metron that means trigonometry যেটো word হয় সেই wordটো তিনিটা word মিলি হৈছে কি word হৈছে first to is a try okay the first word is try that means 3 okay next gonor meaning to ki hoy sides gonor meaning to is a sides aru metron meaning to is a ki je measure that means what je 3 sides or jitu amar measure hey measure to ke ki buli koa hoy hey measure to ke ami trigonometry with the help of trigonometry আমি এটো মেজার কৰো ঠিক আছে এতিয়া আমি 3 সাইডস বুলি কলে এটা 3 সাইডস কার আছে ট্রায়াঙ্গুলার আছে ঠিক আছে সো সেই কাৰণে ইয়াতে লিখিছো trigonometry is the study of relationships between sides and angles of a triangle okay সো এটা ট্রায়াঙ্গল বুলি কলে কি হ'ব ঠিক আছে কাৰণ আমি জানো কি যে trigonometry কি ট্রায়াঙ্গল ইউজ কৰা হয় trigonometry অলওয়েজ রাইট এংগল ট্রায়াঙ্গল ইউজ কৰা হয় সো এটাৰ মিনিং টু হৈছে যে আমি অলওয়েজ right angle triangle আমি ইউজ কৰিব লাগিব আমি বেলেগ ট্ৰায়াঙ্গল ইয়াতে ইউজ কৰিব নোৱাৰো ঠিক আছে বুজি পাইছা সবে
We we already studied is the living world, right? So living world or because it I constantly at a basic understanding first class what we develop. Now in this lesson we are going to understand the different types of criteria that are essential to understand a living organism, or how to define something as living. We can only understand by looking into different factors. For example, what are the key underway or if I say correctly, what are the key biological factors that actually comes into play when we talk about something as living. Okay, so already we discussed about the growth as a factor. We already said that all living organisms grow. So in that scenario, what are the main criteria here? That all living organisms grow. We never seen a living organism that does not grow. Either it can be in the form of their overall body structure, or either it can be in the form of their different functions in their body, right? For example, in case of this pen, if I kept this pen with me for 10 years, this pen will not change, right? This stylus pen will not change. But at the same time, if you are continuously going to watch me for the next 2 years, you will see there is some physiological development in my body. You will see some facial hair might grow differently. You also see my face might be in a different from now. You can always compare that stuff. Okay. Also, every living thing you saw around, all those things are very much always changing in their shape, in their structure, in their function. Okay. So what are the key takeaways from this is that the growth, which is the part of a living organism, is one of the key criteria to define something as a living. But also we cannot say that this is the ultimate or this is the most prominent thing, because we always see growth in the form of non-living things also. A mountain also grow because of many other physiological responses or abiotic responses. Okay, because mud can be mud, or any kinds of debris can be accumulated in there. That's one of the factors. So we can say that. Now যদি এটা চাওঁ যে লিভিং ইন এ সেন্স, তো লিভিং ইন এ সেন্স বুলি ক'লে আমি কি কওঁ যে দিছ অল লিভিং অৰ্গেনিজমছ গ্ৰ' because of their cellular division. Okay, in case of single cell organism, we always see that in single cell organisms the cells only the main part which act as the identifier of the organism. What I am trying to say here is the cell is the ultimate identity for the single cell organism. When the cell divides, we call it the reproduction for the organism. The organism composed of only one cell. If the cell divides, then we call the new cell as the replica of the original cell, right? We call this in a way we call this is simply replication. Okay, the same cell divides to form the new cell. We call this the repetition of the same. Okay, we don't see any differences in the other cell. So what is the meaning of this? That single cell can change into and different cell, but everything will be same. Its shape will be same, its color will be same, everything will be same. So what are the main understanding from here is that in case of a single cell organism, the growth and the reproduction both are synonymous. ইয়াৰ অৰ্থটো কি যে গ্ৰোথ যেতিয়া হ'ব একেলগে সেই সেলটো কি হ'ব ৰিপ্ৰডাকশনো আমি কম, বিকজ গ্ৰোথৰ আল্টিমেট মিনিংটো কি হ'বগে যে তাৰ সেল ডিভিজন হ'ব. So this is the main criteria. Okay, but in case of multicellular organism, what are the defining character here? Multicellular organism composed of many types of cells. So these cells when they divide to form new structures or functions, or they function differently, then we say the organisms also grow. So this is the associated information related to growth.
We talk about electric charges. What is a charge, right? What is a charge? You see, an electric charge is the property of a matter or a body, you can say, that causes it to experience a force when you bring the body to another electrically charged body. That means what I am trying to say, if you have a body, say any material, okay, if you take the material in front of another charged body, this material will either get attracted or get repelled by the charge of this body. Now the attraction and the repulsion depends upon what kind of charges these two bodies are having. Alright. Now as we have learned before that in an atom, suppose you have an atom, just a second. So we have learned before that in an atom, suppose this is an atom, alright, it consists of nucleus at the center, right, and electrons revolving around it, right, electrons revolving around it. Now what is the charge of an atom? The charge of an atom is neutral, okay, an atom is neutrally charged. Why is an atom neutrally charged? Because in an atom the number of protons is equal to the number of electrons. That means protons have positive charges, electrons have negative charges. So number of positive and number of negative charges are always equal in an atom. That is why all the positive and negative charges, they cancel each other, and hence what is left? A neutral charge is left. Because see, in an atom consists of proton, electron and neutron. Proton has positive charges, electron has negative charges, and neutron has no charge at all. Alright, so since number of protons and electrons are same, the charges get cancelled, and hence what is left? A neutral charge is left in an atom. Now suppose a body is neutrally charged and there is another body which is positively charged. Alright, so when you bring the neutral body in near the positively charged body, it will either get attracted or repelled depending upon what kind of charge is there in the body. For example, say let me make it more simple for you. You have a positively charged sphere, okay, that means it contains more number of protons than electrons, and you have a negatively charged sphere. What will happen? These two bodies will attract each other. Why? Because the charges are opposite. Charges, when they are opposite, they attract each other. So what is an electric charge? It is the property of any matter or any object or any body that causes the object or the body to experience a force, whether it is a repulsive force or an attractive force, okay, when brought closer to another electrically charged body. Remember that. Alright. When there is more amount of electron in a body, the body is called negatively charged. Say this example. More amount of electrons are there in this body. That is why it is negatively charged. More amount of positive charge is there in this body. That is why it is positively charged. More amount of electrons, that means less amount of protons. Here protons are more, electrons are less. Alright. So when a body has excess protons, it is positively charged. When a body has excess electrons, it is negatively charged. Alright. So electric charge produces a force. Remember that. When there is an electric charge, it produces electric charge produces electric force. Electric force.
As we have already studied, you have already studied in class 11 that it's a totally different branch of the subject economics. Why it is a totally different subject branch? Because the subject matters that we study in this particular book or in this particular subject is totally different from the rest. Okay, so why there is a need to study macroeconomics? Okay, we'll come to that later, but prior to that we should come and know that basically what macroeconomic is. Okay, macroeconomics is nothing but it's a different branch of economics which basically studies, okay, which basically examines the economic variables or economic issues in an aggregate level or economic problems of an economy as a whole. Okay, just see the literal definition of what is macroeconomics is. Okay, it's very basic to what we say as studying the whole economic process of an economy as a whole. We don't study here the individual variables. We don't consider here the individual behavior of a consumer. We don't consider here the individual behavior of a farm. Instead, we study every economic variable. Economic variable means the production, say the consumption, okay, the income. So what all these economic variables are being studied, okay, in an aggregate manner. So whenever we study economic variables in aggregates, that particular subject is nothing but macroeconomics. Is that clear? So macroeconomics is a different branch of economics emerged after the Great Depression of 1929 to 1933 or 36. It has been acquired at that time, where including North America and some European countries, they faced a really really great depression. Okay, the unemployment rate was high. Okay, the aggregate demand in the economy was nearly about 3 to 4%. The economy was suffering. At that time, one of the prominent British economists named John Maynard Keynes. John Maynard Keynes came up with the idea of macroeconomics with the publication of a book, and the task is yours to find out the name of the book with which macroeconomists emerged as a different branch of economics. I'll give you a hint. The book was published in 1933. Okay, and the author is none other than John Maynard Keynes. He is a British prominent economist. Okay, so in this very chapter, in this the first chapter of macroeconomics of class 12, we are gonna study what? We are gonna study the basic concept of macroeconomics. Okay, we are gonna study about the different type of goods such as consumption good, capital good, final good. Okay, intermediate good. Then we are gonna study some variables like stock variables. What is stock variable? What is a flow variable? Then we are gonna study about what is investment. Okay, this is the most burning, I think, topic that you are very ardent to know about. Okay, so very curious to know about. So here comes the investment. So in investment, you have to focus on the gross investment as per your syllabus is concerned, and then you should know about the topic that what is depreciation, and then the circular flow of income. So this is all about that you will have to study in this very first chapter of macroeconomics. So let's begin with the very first chapter, the very first topic. Okay, what is macroeconomics? What is macroeconomics? I have already mentioned what is macroeconomics. It's nothing but a branch of economics that deals with the behavior and performance of an economy as a whole. That means it studies every single economic variable, okay, in an aggregate manner. So basically, generally, if I consider this macroeconomics as a distinctive subject, then what are the central issues? Okay, what are the central issues that studies macroeconomics of an economy as a whole? The issues are employment of an economy, okay, the growth rate of the national output or the GDP, okay.
So I have given you to do the exercise, right? 2-3 sums I have given you to do. So have you done it, and have you understood what were the sums yesterday we are doing? So Question number 6, have you been able to do the sum? Okay, so I think you all have completed this exercise 4.2. So today we will learn something new, that is the quadratic equation by completing square method. Yesterday we have done the factorization method. So what was the factorization method? Let's recall it first. Factorization method was What was it? First of all, there is a given equation, quadratic equation, right? It is in the standard form. This equation is standard form. Then next we need to take the coefficients of the first term and last term and multiply it, and then we will get one value from which we need to find the factors, right? Then we need to split this middle term. Then by solving this we will get two linear equations. Right, which will be equal to 0. Then first equation is equals to 0, second equation is equals to 0. Then we will get the value of the variable, that is x. Right, this was the factorization method which we have done yesterday. So now today we will be doing the completing square method. See here, solution of quadratic equation by completing square method. Let me first introduce to you how it is done. Okay, now see, you have one given equation like this. Ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0. This is the standard form of a quadratic equation, right? So now if we have to show this equation via completing square method, then what we will need to do? This equation should be divided by a. Okay, if we divide this equation by a, what it will become? Ax squared by a plus bx by a plus c by a is equals to 0 by a. If we do the left hand side, then obviously we need to do the right hand side also. So a cancel out, here x square will remain, plus b by a into x plus c by a. 0 upon a is 0, right? So now till here we have understood. Now what we need to do further? See, we need to make these two terms as square method, like as we have studied, a plus b whole square is equals to a square plus twice ab plus b square. We know this. So how we will make this equation a square? See, x whole square plus 2 into half into b by a, and here we have x. 2 cancel out, so what will remain? B by a x, and this x square is what is called a square, this one. Okay.